Are you too busy, too stressed out, unhealthy? Then this is the place for you. Welcome to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals, where we help you create wellness and balance with a holistic approach that will work for you, even with the busiest of schedules, so you can live the life you want. And now, here's your host, Diane Randall.
Hello and welcome to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals. This is a show that provides the best inner tools and strategies to help you break free of habits and patterns that keep you stuck in place, even with the busiest schedules. Today we're talking about healthy eating, and we're talking about healthy eating from a point of view of plant-based nutrition. I love talking about plant-based nutrition because it's really changed my life. And when I say plant-based nutrition, I mean eating food that has no mother. It's grown in the ground and it has no face. I think that's really simple. But today I have my girlfriend of 25 years here to talk about what it means to eat a healthy plant-based diet rich in nutrients that can help you improve your health and increase your lifespan. I think it's so important that we keep this conversation going. And here on Balanced Living for Busy Professionals, it's all about the plant-based nutrition. I want to welcome my friend, Pamela Bradford.
Well, thank you. Wow, what a pleasure to be here. And this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm excited to hear that you're doing a topic that is of interest to me as well as many, many other people at this point.
It's very interesting that you say that. When I thought about doing this show, I thought of you immediately because you inspired me to change my eating habits at a time when I was really feeling bad health-wise. So
wow.
Yeah, I remember. First, tell the audience who you are.
I'm Pam Bradford, and I am married, no children, and I am a contractor. So a contractor in the training and development arena. So thank goodness I have the flexibility to work independently for corporations and have a lot of flexibility at this point to help them with their training solutions as far as training project management, training design, and the training delivery. So it's my passion, love what I do. I am from Chicago, currently living in Charlotte, North Carolina. So my husband and I live here and have been here for about 5 years and just absolutely loving life right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really, really grateful for that.
Oh my goodness, 5 years have passed already.
Yeah.
I remember when you moved down there, it doesn't seem that long. But
Amazing.
I love the fact that you're here because not only are you able to work and have a business, you are definitely representative of the type of people that listen to this show. But what's important is, and as I said, you helped me at a time when my health was really failing me in a sense that, I had high cholesterol, I had high blood pressure, and really headed down a path that really wouldn't support me long term with my health. I was facing, I would say down the road, probably in the category of heart disease, stroke.
Wow.
So
look at that.
I remember the day when you invited, we were going out to lunch. And you invited me to lunch and you handed me, we had been having conversations, but you handed me this DVD called Eat. And I believe Caldwell Esselstyn was one of the cardiologists on that DVD. But I'm telling you, that DVD totally changed my life.
It's life-changing. It is absolutely life-changing, that DVD. Absolutely.
When I looked at it and I saw, it talked about heart disease, all the reversals from just changing your diet to plants. And I knew I wasn't going to fare well down the road in terms of not having heart disease or stroke from the high blood pressure. I embraced it immediately. And I'm telling you, Pam, fast forward a short time, I lost weight, my blood pressure
Mhm.
became normalized. So I always
Right.
am thankful to you for inspiring me to make that change just through conversation and how we share with each other.
Well,
What
I am so happy to help anyone that will listen. The challenge, and I'm so happy that you did listen. The challenge nowadays is that people won't listen, even if they're sick. A lot of times, people won't listen to just small changes that they could make that will make a world of difference in terms of the quality of their health, the quality of their life, and the duration of their life. So many people just won't make the change. They love what they do today so much that they will not make a change. So I commend you for actually jumping right in and doing what needed to be done, but that's who you are. So,
But the wonderful thing too is I spread the word. I went to
yes.
the Institute for Integrated Nutrition because you just sparked a big forest in my mind where I just wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more.
Uh-huh.
And fast forward about 6, 7 years from
Wow.
that education, I'm really trying to help and educate people because, like you say, Pam, people hear this information, they get the news, they have heart attacks, they have
Mm-hmm.
diabetes that's so bad, but there's that resistance to where they can't change.
Well, food is very addictive. It's very addictive, and it is hard to change. And society nowadays hates change anyway.
Right.
So it takes a lot of determination, a lot of self motivation to not just do it for a short period of time, but this has to be a lifestyle change. So you have to be the person that shows up at the dinner party and there is like meat everywhere. And you're like, well, I guess I'm not eating any of the meat tonight. I'm not going to eat.
Well, and we've both experienced this. You show up at the dinner party, and it's like, oh, I made you a salad.
You're right. They think there's nothing else that you could possibly eat but a salad.
Right. So what
So,
I try to do now that it's been a few years, I'll take a dish that's
mhm,
plant-based just to try to
right.
promote and educate people that it's more than a salad,
Exactly.
and it's so
Exactly.
funny, and I get reactions from extreme I'm not eating that to people trying it and saying, oh my
Right.
goodness, I wouldn't have ever thought this was a
Mhm.
plant-based meal.
Exactly. And I do something similar as well. And I try not to even tell them that it's a healthy dish because people a lot of times just won't eat it, like you said, because they think it's healthy. But if they don't know that it's healthy, you'd be surprised how they'll jump right into it. I pick dishes that taste like chicken or some type of meat or different desserts. And if they don't know what it is, they completely consumed it, and then they find out, oh my God, that was only vegetables.
Well, I'm always
So,
under suspect, okay, for for
hmm
bringing a healthy meal. Even if I brought something and I don't say anything, everybody that knows me knows that it's plant based. They just know that
right.
about me, and
At this
now
point,
at this
exactly. hmm
point, so I don't even try
Same
to
with me.
hide it. And you know what?
hmm
If you eat it or not, it's up to you. My whole intention and mission at this point in my life is to help people improve, help us to live longer, increase our lifespans by things that I know that work, that you know that works. We've experienced the changes I have in my life and
Absolutely.
in my health. And when I look around me, I see my family. I see I have two best friends that had heart attacks in their mid 40s. They had heart attacks
Wow.
in their mid 40s. I
hmm
have my good friend in November. He had a triple bypass. So
Mm.
it's all around us. And
Yes.
Pam, I feel being busy is an excuse. What do you
hmm
think? What do you think about that?
I I completely agree with you. I mean, I'm totally passionate about this topic. In fact, my nephew passed away on Father's Day.
Oh, Pam.
So, I mean, this is just riddled all through my family. heart attack, cancer, diabetes. So all of this is a part of the reason why I am doing this. I'm totally committed to actually just changing the quality of my overall health and managing the quality of that. So I look for ways to do it and to keep it exciting and keep it interesting. Every year, instead of your traditional New Year's resolution, I try to set a new goal as to how to up the ante. How do I eat more vegetables? How do I eat less sweets? How do I work out more? And even if you don't reach the goal, you are way better off than you were before, because we all fall off the wagon here and there. And by falling off, I don't mean going and eating a bucket of chicken, but no one's perfect, and sometimes you may eat, more sweets than you should have eaten, for example.
Well,
so I'm constantly looking for ways to make an improvement, keep it interesting to me, bottom line, but keep it simple. It doesn't have to be the 15-degree recipe. It could be something that's an ingredient or two. So I'm constantly looking for ways to do that. For example, I'm always looking for those things that are high in nutrition, high in fiber, and that are satisfying. So I think I mentioned to you now, I'm on this kick of eating what was the last thing I told you about was
the flaxseed.
Mm-hmm. Right. The flaxseed and the chia seed.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I have my vegetables that I'm eating. It could be a smoothie or whatever, and I'll throw some flax seeds and chia seeds in that. The American diet has very little fiber in it. So when I'm even eating the vegetables, I'm looking for the raw broccoli, which is high in fiber, or the pears and apples, which have a lot of pepsin, that are natural enzyme in them. So I'm constantly looking for those kinds of foods that have the nutrients in them. They also fill you up, and they help with digestion. So they give you that natural fiber to break down, which ultimately helps you feel better. So you asked me something, and I went like 5 different directions.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay. I mean, we're just having a conversation on how plant-based foods rich in nutrients help us to improve. I mean, we both came from families that ate a lot of processed food, ate a lot of meat.
Exactly.
And we see and have seen our families depleted by disease.
Yes.
So one of the things I love about you is I watched you embrace the plant-based movement way before I was, even had opened my eyes to it. And I was able to watch you, and that inspired me. And then I think in my head anyway, I said, I've got to do something. And I didn't know what, but having those conversations with you, and definitely watching that DVD. What I tell people now, when they don't, they're kind of on the fence, I'll go, watch Fork Over Knives, watch Pure Nation, watch Eat, watch the DVDs that will show you exactly what the numbers are, because I don't want to fight about it, and I don't want to go back and forth about it. There's a lot of science now. There's a lot of science and research that's been done on plant-based nutrition, and I've had cardiologists on Balanced Living for Busy Professionals right here that have that are plant-based themselves, and they talk about the best way you can improve your life is to stop eating processed foods and meat. And we've grown up meat eaters. I mean, everybody has, but it's just being open to change. And I'm saying taking small steps, because small steps can make a huge difference. The idea is just being consistent.
Right. And I completely agree with what you're saying. For me, you talked about the small steps. I had stopped eating pork and beef, and I was eating chicken, which at that time I thought was healthy. Okay. I was
think
eating
we
chicken,
all
and
thought it was healthy.
Yeah. I could tell you every place in Chicago that had chicken, fried chicken, baked chicken, broiled chicken, you name it. I knew the good chicken places. And then I also ate seafood. So I was big on shrimp, lobster, all of that, until I saw that DVD that you were talking about that lets you know that you're getting so much fat from chicken, you may as well eat a steak. And I'm like, oh my God.
Even the fish, which just shocked me that it didn't matter if you ate the fish or the chicken or the steak. Yeah,
and then the fish has so many contaminants in it. Particularly with all of the disasters that we've had in the various water bodies. So you don't know what you're getting with the fish is even, another problem.
And that's what's so interesting because I'm telling you, the things that have come up, like the recalls on the meat, like I wasn't a big meat eater. I ate chicken because I thought it was healthy, and I ate fish. I wasn't a big beef eater. I probably hadn't had a piece of beef in like 10 years, but I thought I was eating healthy, and especially, I'm going to eat more fish than I eat anything else. But the truth is, with all the disaster, I think that's what's helped me to stay committed. You had the nuclear disaster in Japan, that's the Pacific Ocean. Okay.
Right. And then the BPOL spill.
Hello.
That's close to home.
They say, okay, we cleaned it up. It's good. And I'm like, well, for me, that's all I need.
Right.
That's all I need.
Exactly.
That's all I needed. So Pam, I know you're really busy with your business, and I know you travel. So how do you stay healthy on the road? I think that's what a lot of people want to hear.
I create challenges for myself, regardless of whether I'm traveling or even local. It's the same challenge. When I'm going away, I buy healthy snacks. So Whole Foods is my best friend. So I go in Whole Foods and I get my healthy snacks that I can travel with. So healthy bars, for example, is what I'm referring to. There's some that don't have yeast and don't have just a lot of the sugars and a lot of the chemicals, a couple of brands that I'll buy and have that in my bag at all times. And then when I get to whatever city I'm going to, I go straight to Whole Foods. I go and get my broccoli, my raw broccoli, which I try to eat most days, as well as things to make kind of supplement my meals. So I get some a salad. It could be broccoli, tomatoes, a few apples. And this is what I supplement my meals with, particularly if I can't find anything healthy. I can always go to my room and make up a decent meal. And then when I go to a restaurant, I look for, a lot of places do have vegetarian-friendly meals now. But if they don't, I just go right to the side. What do you have in terms of your sides? Do you have any vegetables, spinach, asparagus, broccoli? That's what my meal is. And I have them bring, 3 or 4 of those on a plate, and that's dinner. So, people talk about, there's nothing to eat. You can make a meal. And I've gone to places that didn't have anything vegetarian on the menu, and I just asked the chef to make me something. And I did this, I remember, in Seattle when I was traveling, and they started calling it the Pam Special.
Wow, you're
what
famous.
The Pam Special.
Oh, that's cute.
Because the chef made me this delicious meal out of, what was it? It was zucchini and red peppers, lentil beans. It was, mushrooms. It was absolutely delicious. It was not on the menu, but he threw it together. So my point is that you can eat healthy, and it's up to us not to allow people to force us to eat junk. And sometimes we may have to plan some and be intentional about it.
Well, and you just said something key. I believe when you first start, you have to plan and you have to be intentional, or it just won't happen. Yeah. It just will not happen.
Absolutely.
I carried a bag around for like a year, like you said, with the healthy snacks. At that time, I ate something every 3 hours because it had to be like a plan. It had to be a schedule because I had to practice. And I had everything in a bag, and I'm in New Brunswick, right across the ocean from Greenland, with my little bag of snacks because I'm in a resort town that's shut down. in the
Okay.
wintertime, and there's nothing open, so
Mm.
that's probably my worst case scenario. And the
Mhm.
resort was really
Mhm.
nice, like you. They would, they do the best they could, but there were nights when, I had to get used to not eating as much as I'm used to. And it's funny when you don't have all that food, how much you really are hungry. It's like I ate that
Mhm.
small amount and I was really good, but I wasn't used to it. you know?
Right. Well, when you are eating good food, it will fill you up quicker.
Yes, yes,
So the junk will give you um, that full feeling, but then you start craving food right away because your sugar is going up and down.
your
But
sugars,
when you're eating healthy
right.
food, you're not hungry and you won't have the cravings.
And the thing is, and I teach this in my workshop, if you can understand that your food choices are being made by, the brain is in charge. Okay, it's
Mhm.
hardwired for that sugar, for that processed food,
Mhm.
and you can
Yeah.
you can try to deprive yourself. And I've done this for many years with all the willpower you want. It just will not work. So what
Yeah.
what I say is you have to train your brain. It's like cocaine, it's like cigarettes, it's like
Mhm.
any
Mhm.
addicting thing. And we have to understand that it's the same thing when it comes to
Mhm.
processed food. And
Right.
as long as you're eating that processed food, you will never, you can hold back. And I always say there's a difference between holding back on something and really releasing those addictions. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I could hold
That's so
back for
true.
6 months. Okay. But once
Mhm.
I got some processed food or cake or something on my tongue, it was on. And it took me months to get myself together. I'm not kidding you. And this is
Right.
what
You're
keeps
right.
me straight today is that I don't want to eat those sugary desserts because I know what's gonna happen. So I just opt for the raw or desserts
Right.
with a low glycemic index, which
Mhm.
means that they may be sweetened with a little honey or a little or
Agave.
something
Mhm.
or maple, just a little. Because I don't want to
Right.
be hooked again. I was a mad woman, when I didn't
Wow.
get my sugar. I don't want to go back to
Don't go back.
that.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, it takes you being very, very intentional about, what am I putting in my body and what is the impact of me eating this.
No, I was going to say, I tell you the impact of that. The impact of that for me is that I've watched since I was young. I've watched diabetes run rampant through my
Yeah.
family. I've seen limbs
Mhm.
get cut off. I've seen all kinds of
Mm.
things that I said to myself, I don't want that to be
Mhm.
me. Even at a young age, I said that to myself. I didn't know what I was
Right.
going to do, but I remember saying that.
And I think that the average person just doesn't believe that this could happen to them. They're still in denial that, oh, it happened to their uncle or their cousin and sometimes even their sibling or parent,
Yeah.
but they still don't believe it could happen to them, and they're not willing to make any sacrifice.
Well, I've thought
So,
about that. I've thought about that a lot, and I'm not. I'm my theory because I don't is that there's so much conditioning from watching these commercials, in
right.
in in what's good, what's not good, and when you taste that food on your palate, you're just so in love with it
Hmm.
that
Right.
you want it regardless of anything. So I think there's some outside forces that help us to stay this way. I don't feel, yes, I believe you have to take 100% responsibility for everything in your
Hmm.
life, but I don't
Hmm.
believe it's the fault of people who cannot control themselves. And part of what I like to do is share what I've learned through the research is that your brain is hooked, and you have to unhook your brain first, okay,
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
you can do anything else.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it's twofold. I think
Mhm.
you're right. It's an addiction. In addition to people not even wanting to take the first step because they don't want to make any type of change. But it is a strong addiction,
It
eating
is.
bad.
It is.
I mean, the sugar high and the sugar addiction and the fat addiction. And it's satisfying when you eat those foods.
It is
It's not a
satisfying. You love it, but
yeah.
what a lot of people may not know, and I like to teach this through the education, is that taste that you love is created
Mhm.
in a laboratory at a lot of
Mhm.
food companies. I'm not saying every, but
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
created. It's called a bliss point, to where you bite
Mhm.
into whatever you're biting into and you just love it
Mhm.
and you cannot stop. It's almost like what nicotine, well,
Mhm.
it is like what nicotine is to cigarettes. You know,
Smokers. Wow. Wow.
it's that addiction. And in my education classes, I have to
Mhm.
talk about that first, because that is why you can't stop. And I also advocate, Pam, and you can chime in here, is that you're not even making your own food choices, because subliminally, okay, you've watched
Mhm.
commercials, you've heard these ads. So,
Right.
you're watching TV, and the next thing you know, you're saying, dang, I want something sweet.
Right.
I want some
Well, where's
pizza.
the nearest pizza place?
Right. Right. It's
No, you're exactly right. Absolutely. And it's sad. It's sad that we live in a wealthy country, but the health of most people is deteriorating. It's just so sad, and that it costs more to buy healthy foods than it does to buy junk food.
Oh, Pam, it's just incredible. But I do see light. I
Mhm.
see people creating gardens in their front lawns,
Yes.
in the inner city or neighborhoods that typically would not have healthy vegetables. There are vegetable
Mhm.
trucks now that go into those neighborhoods. So I do, in the experts that I have that come onto the show, I see what they're doing, and it's more
That's
people
good.
trying to make a difference. So I feel better, but yet when I look around my family, I look around my friends, I talk to clients, and I see that the numbers for the diabetes, for the heart disease, for heart attacks, it just blows my mind,
Mhm.
because a lot of people, they aren't open, because of all the things we've talked about, to
Mhm.
trying something different. And maybe if you just try for a week or so, just eating more plants, to see if it made any impact on your
Mhm. Right. The changes is difficult, particularly for a lot of people. They get into a routine and they will not look outside of that routine. It's certainly if it's something that's satisfying, it's easy, and even some people know that this is bad for them, but but it's what I've done all these years. So my mom did it, and her mom did it, so I'm just going to keep on
life.
doing it.
Yeah.
And there is an expectancy in society to get sick.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to live forever. I'm going to die from something.
Oh
So
man.
that's kind of the attitude. It's like, okay, I'm so what if I get sick? I'm supposed to get sick from something. So there's not even an expectancy to have a good quality, healthy life in your senior years.
I
It's
know, but
abnormal.
oh
Mhm.
boy, yeah, that you're right. I hear that so much. And with a lot of people, I don't know, and I'm in my conversations that, sometimes there is an immediate resistance, and it's
Mm.
downhill from there. Well, I'm gonna die of something, just like you said. And they say, I know healthy people that have eaten healthy and died anyway, and I'm sure that's true. But at the same
Mhm. Mhm.
time, but I've decided these days I don't fight with anybody. If
Mhm.
you don't have to listen to me. If you ask me a question, I will certainly share the information. And this is why I love having a podcast, because I can have
Mhm.
conversations about it, and people that want to listen can listen. And I bring
Right.
people like you on here to talk about how you're a real person, having a real life, a real experience, being very busy, but yet you have found a way to stay healthy.
Right. And one thing you mentioned is that you can find people. It could be an avid racer or runner, for example, someone that gets up and jogs every day. So physically, you look at them and they look great. However, they may be eating tons of fat. So one of the things that is important is we talked about the plant-based diet. One of the reasons why it's so good is that you're getting nutrients and not a lot of fat. So society makes you think that all you got to do is work out and cut back on some of those calories. But if you are still consuming a lot of fat, those arteries are still getting clogged, even though you may be trim or slim. And at some point, that heart may give out on you. So those are the situations where a person, he looks so healthy and he runs marathons, but he still was not eating a good diet.
And let me tell
and
you,
that's the difference.
even on a plant-based diet, I was eating, and you can eat nuts and oils. I mean, you can do that. But I think for me, because I don't like cooking that much, I'll find something and I'll just keep eating and eating it because I'm lazy. I'll just be honest.
Right.
And what I found was I was eating too much oil and too many nuts, because I mean every day I'm chomping on nuts all day long.
Right. Yeah. It has to be in moderation.
I know.
For sure.
So what I learned was, even as a plant-based person eating, rich foods, yes, you need some of that fat in the nuts and the oil, but you can overdo that too. That's the lesson I learned.
Absolutely. Well, that's why you can see vegetarians that are fat because they're still consuming a lot of calories, even with their choices that they're making. So we always have to look at the fat content and the sugar content, regardless of what it is.
You're right.
Eating vegetarian, vegan, whatever it is.
You're right. Because collectively, if you look at everything you eat, it still adds up. At the end of the day, it adds up in your body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited about the changes that you've made and the new program and how you're being a blessing to other people. At the end of the day, that is what it's all about, is helping others, sharing what we know with other people.
Well, Pam, let's just talk about weight loss for a few minutes and how what is that like for you versus now eating plant-based as when you were just eating a standard American diet?
For me, I just backtracked when I first got married. And we were eating, the standard diet. And, I mean, it was like a balloon. Somebody was blowing air in. We were just blowing up. I looked at the pictures and I'm like, oh, my God. So thank goodness my husband and I both started eating the plant-based diet. And the weight just fell off. I mean, I was, edging up 2 sizes, more than I wanted to be. And the weight just started falling off. No problem with the bulging stomach anymore. I'm still wearing clothes, in size 6s, which, folks look at me and like, how is that possible? So the weight came off and it stayed off. That's the biggest benefit. One of the biggest benefits is that you don't have to have this up and down.
Oh my God.
So it stayed off. My energy level, and I can tell when I eat too much sugar because it goes straight to my head and I get tired. So my energy level is just at a nice steady place. I think clearly. I'm able to sleep just amazingly well. I mean, just head hits the pillow, boom, I am out.
Awesome.
So I'm more productive as a result of it.
I feel the same way. Right when I started, it's so funny. It's like I didn't know what was going to happen, but maybe 2 months passed and I had lost like 7 pounds of body fat. I couldn't believe it. I jumped down to a size that I had never been in before, because I always had 2 sizes, 8s and 10s. If I went up, I'd do a 10 and I'd lose weight and go back to the 8. The 10 was where, that was like my threshold, and that was like a holding pattern until I got back into my 8s, But it was so weird that I dropped down to like a 6, okay, for my
Right.
body size, a 6. And that's what it's all about, for your body size. It's
Right.
not being
Exactly.
skinny, it's what's healthy in your body type. Okay, I just want
Mhm.
to put that out there. But Pam, I was even nervous about buying those smaller clothes because I just knew, because my experience was, I'm gonna gain weight again. I'm gonna gain
It'll
weight.
come
So
back.
I
Mhm.
don't wanna, buy clothes in this size. And my sister, she thought I had lost my mind because
Mhm.
I really had an uncomfortable feeling about that for a minute. I didn't know how to think about that because it had never happened before. But fast forward, it was a beautiful, beautiful thing, but it just happened so quickly. And on this
Mhm.
show, when I do other podcasts, I always say, when you eat plant-based nutrition, weight loss becomes a byproduct. And when I say that in my workshops, people
Mhm.
give me that turn their heads around twice. What? And I said it's true. If you're
Yeah.
focusing on eating healthy every day, taking it one step at a
Mhm.
time, you don't have to think about the weight loss. It
Right.
comes
You don't have to
naturally.
diet. You don't
Exactly.
have to diet.
D-
Yeah.
Diet,
Absolutely.
even though we say plant-based diet, but really, I don't even worry about it. And guess what? I put on a little weight, but I've never gotten
Mhm.
out of my clothes. And
Right.
usually I have to cut back on whatever I'm on at the minute, or
Right.
think about, okay,
Mhm.
like too much oil, too many nuts. And then it's
Exactly.
easy. I mean, I just start thinking about, okay, what have I done? I start brainstorming, and I already usually know what I'm doing. We all know what we're doing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I go back to eating, what undoing some of the stuff I've done. And it's just so easy. It's that simple. And I know we live in a world where weight loss is everything we think about every day.
Mhm. You're exactly right. I mean, it's all about, it still goes back to you taking control. If you
Yes.
taking control, even when there's so many temptations out there, whether it's at the office and there's a table full of pastries, or someone's having a retirement party or whatever,
Well,
unhealthy foods are
and
plentiful.
we both know what that's like. When I'm at a client, I mean, we celebrate, we eat breakfast.
Mhm.
People want to work for
Mhm.
lunch. It's always some fast food, or I'll just order pizza. But when that happens
Mhm.
today, I say, you know what? If they ask me, sometimes they just say I ordered pizza for us, and that's okay. But I say, you know what? I need
Mhm.
about 15 minutes. I'm gonna run and get some food, and I'll be right back because
Mhm.
I don't want to eat the pizza. I'm just
Right.
really clear on what I will, and I'm not putting that on anybody except myself.
Or just ask them to order a salad. That's what I try to catch
Yes,
them. And can you
yes,
order me a big salad? Tell them what I want in my salad. Don't put
yes,
any cheese on it.
right,
Everybody loads up everything with lots of cheese. They
right,
think that's healthy.
right.
So, yeah, I agree. You have to take control over what you eat. And a lot of people want you to eat what they eat, even if
Yes,
it's bad, because it makes them feel good.
yes,
So when
yes. I
they
do
see
get
you
that.
eating healthy, that makes them feel bad about their choices.
And it triggers them some. I've had people, but I say,
Yeah.
I'm doing what I do, and I think
Mhm.
that's a good thing because because you're reminded of what you should be doing. And sometimes
Mhm.
for me, I mean, that's better than putting your stuff on anybody. Is that they think about it and they start talking about what they should be doing or what. So I love that. I'd rather just be a role model in that than
Mhm.
telling
Mhm.
anybody anything, because that's not what I feel I should do. I should just work on myself, and
Right.
if I have clients, I talk to them. If I'm teaching, I spread information. People can take what they want, but my whole idea is to help people improve with intention, like you said earlier, and planning.
Your actions speak for themselves, and that's good. Like you said, it's an excellent role model. People can see by your lifestyle and by your choices that you're living this thing and you're serious about it, and you're not, going to fall off the wagon at every opportunity that they present. So it's a great thing. And it's not just food. We've been talking about food, but alcohol is another factor in our society that is huge. I mean, people are insulted if you, A, won't go out to drink with them, or B, when you go out, you won't drink when you're there. So that's another area of huge consumption, consuming something that is not good for the body. So a lot of people don't know how to have a good time without having a drink. Because you can go out and have, a pineapple juice or whatever, apple juice, whatever your choice. Or a lot of times I'll drink water.
I'll drink water, but I also drink. I drink wine. Years ago, I drank 2-3 glasses, and I think about it, which I drink. I'm a social drinker now to a certain extent, but what I do now is I may have a glass of wine, but I have a glass of water too, because I'm drinking the water and I'm drinking the wine, and what happens with that is I'm full, I'm satisfied. So typically, I've just had one glass of wine that night.
You stretched it out.
I stretched it out. Yeah.
Exactly. But I said that to say that, it's in our society, it's like something that people brag about is how much they drank.
Yeah.
And how, over the top their behavior was, and, all of that. It's just not a healthy thing to do. So it feeds into the overeating and just a poor diet and poor lifestyle in general.
Well, I'm happy that there's people like you who educate people in the workforce, in the world, in their life on how they can improve their health through healthy eating. So I want to thank you for being here and just having this conversation about plant-based nutrition.
You are quite welcome. You are a phenomenal role model for me. I constantly learn things from you, and that's what's a blessing, is that we learn from one another. No one knows everything.
Yes, we do.
So it's just a blessing to have someone like you who's constantly learning and willing to share with other people. So I'm proud of you and happy for you, and just wish you all the best as you continue with your endeavors.
And thank you too. And if you guys have any questions or you found something of value from this episode of Balanced Living for Busy Professionals, I want you to find 2 people to share this with. If they don't know how to subscribe, I want you to take their phones, their computer, their iPads, whatever digital device they have, and show them how to subscribe to the podcast. You can even go to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals podcast page and actually subscribe to any subscriber provider that you use. So this show has grown. I'm grateful to all of you that listen, and I want to know what you think, because my intention is to share information that you could use to make changes in your life right away. So be a part of the community. And I want to thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Balanced Living for Busy Professionals. This podcast is sponsored by DianeRandallConsults.com. If you like this show, the best way to support it is by leaving 5-star feedback on iTunes. And please feel free to email your questions, comments, and suggestions to feedback@DianeRandallConsults.com. Until next week, namaste.